Good morning, Mike. It's always good to see you on a Sunday. And we're talking a win.
To be clear, these are not your dad's Patriots or even your older brother's Patriots. They've come a long way from the days of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and I like that. I think that's a good chance for Carolina to get a second straight win today.
And I was saying, we were just talking before we came back, I was out of town last week, and
they won.
They
won.
Thank you.
Just to give you an update.
They won. But when somebody saw that they won and how they won, they were saying Carolina could be a dangerous team if they could keep going like this.
I mean, their next stretch of games, they play Dallas, Miami, New York, and of course the Patriots today. None of those teams are exactly clicking at the moment. It's a chance for Carolina to really get some momentum before, as we know, they play Buffalo, things get really hard. So again, I like where they are. I think their defense has really come into form. For years now they've heard how they're the weakness of the team, and the last 2 weeks, even in that loss to Arizona, they have showed up, they're coming into form. It's a good time to be a Carolina Panther.
I was going to say, yeah, they really put it on versus the Cardinals, and then they started, now you see what they did to the Falcons. But the one thing that a lot of people are worried about is injuries. I mean, I honestly feel that this is the first week we could see T-Mac get to the end zone. Right.
By default, there's really no one else to throw into Hunter Renfrow. But, I mean, Bryce is going to be looking at some different targets today. I mean, this is something that Carolina's been dealing with for a while. And, yes, the injuries are a concern. But I think given the state of the Patriots, they're not exactly a well-rounded squad. It's an opportunity for Carolina to do some good today, especially their offense, who needs to do some good because, let's face it, last week it was not the offense who carried them to a win.
And that's what I was going to say. But this week it could be the defense carrying them again. You're playing against a rookie QB and everything else.
Yeah, and I think for Bryce, he's heard a lot about Drake May all week, and I think there's the 704 connection. Bryce, they don't have history. They don't really know each other. So I think Bryce today is going to want to show people something. I think he's tired of being asked about Drake May. What do you think about this guy? I think Bryce wants to show everybody that as far as the quarterback king of Carolina, it's him right now.
Right, because there were some fans that were like, Drake May should have been the guy in the black and blue and everything else. Speaking of black and blue, what do we have coming up for us today?
Well, cool deal. We're talking with Ryan Fitzgerald. He's their kicker. Casey Funderburg actually got tips on how to be a better kicker. And if you're going to go to somebody, why not go to the Panthers starting kicker for that? Also, we're talking with Jonathan Stewart, former running back, the legendary running back. He's got a new hobby. I caught up with him. He tells us what's been going on with him. And we're going one-on-one with Panthers head coach Dave Canales. Figure this is a good time as ever. They're coming off a win. Things are good. We're getting his philosophy about coaching and just overall scheme of now going into year 3. Or now it's year 3 for him in Carolina.
That led me to
year 2 for him in Carolina.
That led me to 2 questions. One, is Casey hitting a 40-yard field goal to win the game for us? And then 2, I did see Jonathan Stewart's new passion. So, I mean, photography. But first, let's just answer the kicking thing.
No, Casey. And if she's watching this, I'm not trying to insult her at any point. She was struggling putting the ball on the tee, which and to be fair, that's probably even farther than I would get because I would lean down to bend over and put the ball on the tee, and I'd probably pull my back out doing it. So she's better than I am. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I was about to say, we've seen you do some sports stories, and you've ended up on the IR a couple of times as well.
I'm walking good. I'm going to keep it that way.
Everything's going good. Thanks, Mike. Of course, we'll catch up with you at 10 o'clock later.
That's good.
All right, let's go ahead and catch up.
Michael Set of Carolina Sports Live. Happy game day, guys. Good morning.
Happy game day to you, Gabe. All right, some good memories playing New England and some not so good memories playing New England. But as far as the here and now goes, how do these Patriots match up with these Panthers?
Yeah, it's a young Patriots team that's trying to figure out who they are. I think a lot can be said for the Carolina Panthers as well. This will tell us a lot about last week's performance, 30-0 against the Atlanta Falcons. Who are the Carolina Panthers? What will we see today?
Should be a lot of fun. Well, after 2 weeks of falling behind fast with a failed passing attack, the Panthers have finally established themselves as a run-first offense. However, given the Patriots scheme, they could run into trouble today. New England has a strong line. Christian Barmore, Super Bowl champ Milton Williams, and Kyrus Tonga are trouble. In fact, so far this season, they've held their opponents to under 100 yards on the ground. Last week against the Falcons, meanwhile, Carolina had 110 rushing yards from their 30-0 win over Atlanta. While they understand it's going to get tougher today, the Panthers are confident that as long as they stick to the fundamentals, they can find success again.
For me, looking at the film,
Happy game day to you, Gabe. And yeah, Al, some good memories playing New England and some not so good memories playing New England. But as far as the here and now goes, how do these Patriots stack up against the Panthers?
Yeah, that Super Bowl 38 banner that we saw in the open, yeah, that one didn't feel good. But this version of Mike Vrabel's New England Patriots, today we'll find out who the real Carolina Panthers are.
Should be a fun one. Well, after 2 weeks of falling behind fast with a failed passing attack, the Panthers have finally established themselves as a run-first offense. However, given the Patriots' scheme, they could run into some trouble today. New England has a very strong defensive line. Christian Barmore, Super Bowl champ Milton Williams, and Kairos Tonga are trouble. In fact, so far this season, they've held their opponents to under 100 yards on the ground. Conversely, Carolina had 110 rushing yards in their 30-0 win over the Falcons last week. Well, they understand it's going to get tougher today. The Panthers are confident that as long as they stick to the fundamentals, they can find success again.
for me, looking at
Okay, so here is what the black and blue will be up against today. They're facing a revamped defensive line unit in New England. Patriots only allowed 2.8 yards per carry. On top of that, they've only allowed 181 rushing yards on the season, which ranks them second in the entire NFL. Running backs have not been able to find so much success. Getting to the end zone, too, has been a problem. There's been a total of just 2 rushing touchdowns given up by the D. The Patriots have also yet to give up a run of 20-plus yards. Al, for Carolina, how important is it to establish that running game today?
Yeah, you got to commit to it. You got to go in there and say, we're going to continue to run the ball even when it doesn't work. For this New England Patriots defense, it's about those big guys that we're talking about up front. When I played against the Patriots, it was Ted Washington. It was Mike Vrabel, the coach, and guys like Willie McGinnis. So if they're good up front, they're going to force you to be one-dimensional. And for Carolina and Dave Canales, find out what types of plays work. Is it the outside? Is it attacking the interior of that defense? But you got to be committed to it.
Now, as far as that attack, how important is the variation, ball distribution between Chuba and Rico?
I think you'd go with Chuba Hubbard. He is going to be your dog in the middle of that offense, and you got to keep handing it to him and to allow him to build up momentum. He gets stronger as the game goes, and if you continue to lean on him, he's going to have success at the end of this football game.
Do you like where Carolina is right now based on what we saw last week?
I like where they are mentally. They have to be feeling very good about the product they put on the field last week. And if you can roll into that going into Gillette Stadium, you got to have confidence, and that is half the battle with the NFL.
You'll love to see it. Well, no running here. We're going to pass it back up to New England. That is where we find Gabe McDonald. He has more on who what some call a hometown hero. All right, let's switch gears now for a second. Ever since drafting Tetairoa McMillan, none of us thought that one of the main points of contention on this team right now would be the wide receiver spot. Now, T-Mac has obviously been the rock for Bryce Young. He's made the biggest impact downfield. 14 catches, 216 yards in 3 games. Surprisingly, Hunter Renfrow has been solid as well. Other than that, though, it's been up in the air. Xavier Legette out again for today. Now, he said he could play, and if he could, he'd be limited. But the Panthers say the hamstring injury is too much to go. Dave Canales also has yet to put Jimmy Horton Jr. in a game. Canales says Horn has some things to learn before he gets a shot. Bryson Tremaine and David Moore, meanwhile, other guys in this field so far doing what they can to help the Panthers move the ball downfield. All righty, here's the distribution Bryce has thrown out to his wideouts. T-Mac, obviously the most targets far and away, 8 more than any other pass catcher, which is Hunter Renfrow. Yards-wise, look at this. T-Mac doubles up the next guy, which would be tight end J.T. Sanders. He is out today and not listed. Now, we see the list, we see the production. Does this offense look a little one-dimensional at this point?
Yeah, not to me. It doesn't look one-dimensional. It looks like an offense that has a #1 wide receiver that they drafted with the 8th overall pick, Mike. And what you do is you throw it to him. You don't ask top quarterbacks and top receivers to go anywhere else but to one another until teams can find out how to slow down T-Mac. I throw it to him. I feed him. He's just like that #1 running back. You hand it to him. It's the strength of this offense. I don't think you have to spread it around.
In other words, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Don't mess with it. Just keep riding it.
I want to ask you about XL. He wanted to play today. Panthers said no. Why are they being so cautious about this?
Yeah, I think they want to make sure that he's there for the long haul, that he's going to be available for the remainder of the season. So if you're if you're XL, what you got to do is make sure you're 100% ready and not 98% ready to go out there and perform, Mike. So I understand the team using some caution. They're going to want to use him for the remainder of the season.
So how important is it for him to take time mentally to get set before coming back?
You just do the little things. Don't make it bigger than what you hear in the media. Don't focus on all the things that are being said about you, in publications. Just go out there and work on the basics. Get your body back and make sure when you come back, you're able to help this team and contribute in a big way.
He's got to listen to Al.
That's it. It's easy.
Right now, I want to listen to you. What's going on, man?
Anything that you've done on the field obviously is going to take that as well. Michael Sett, joined by our Carolina Sports Live's Michael Sett, joined by our Black and Blue Kickoff Live analyst Al Wallace as they get ready to break this one down. Happy game day, guys. Good morning.
Happy game day to you, Gabe. Happy game day to everybody. Al, when a team like the Panthers are coming off their first win, taking on a team much like them coming off their first loss, does the mentality change, or does Carolina smell blood in the water here?
You got to smell blood in the water, Mike. You got to feel that momentum build, and you got to keep your foot on the gas. If you're Dave Canales and the Carolina Panthers, you have to take advantage of what you started last week against the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, let's get to the main event now. It is Al Wallace's 3 keys to the game. Key number 1, got to be bring the heat and send the house. We still have not seen a sack since Prince Uman Mielen did it 2 weeks ago. Carolina has to find a way to get to Drake May. Al, if that happens, you got to believe other things are going to open up.
Yeah, you're going to lean into some of the turnovers. We'll get into that a little bit later. But this defense has to put pressure on the Charlotte native Drake May. They have to frustrate him. They have to speed up that timing. They have to move him around the pocket. The way you do that, I believe you add extra rushers to this pass rush. You have to add extra attackers to get to Drake May and force him to turn the ball over. They turned the ball over a ton last week. They need to do that. If you're going to have those young guys and they're not getting to the quarterback, start bringing some linebackers, start bringing some safeties.
As a wise man once said, the quarterback must go down and must go down hard.
Has to go down.
There you go. Key number 2, Chuba's going to love this one. Panthers have to establish the run early. It has been a decent mix so far of Hubbard and Rico Dowdell, but Al, you want them to strike early so Carolina can use the passing attack later in the game.
Yeah, commit to the running game. Rico Dowdell and, of course, Chuba Hubbard. This is going to be a tough run defense that Mike Vrabel has built. That defensive front, that line, the interior, it is stout. They only give up about 65 rushing yards per game this season, but make no mistake, when you run it, you allow Bryce Young, that offense, to throw the ball. Run it early, run it often, set up the play action pass. That is where this offense for Dave Canales is best, throwing to guys like T-Mac in this offense. But you got to establish the run. They have to know that you're committed to it, that you will run the rock.
Which then brings us to key number 3. They have got to keep forcing turnovers. The corners are doing their jobs. Let's go old school. Let's punch some peanuts. Al, you want to keep those turnovers coming?
We got to get it going. 3 turnovers last week, a beautiful thing to see. We got to get hands on the ball. That means bodies around the running backs, multiple hats on those wide receivers. We want to see those DBs continue to get the rock, take it back for 6. This Carolina Panthers defense, when they're really good, they stop the run, they make the Patriots one-dimensional, and we go right back to Drake May, force the young guy to make more decisions, more plays than he has to win this football game. Turnovers are the key. I could literally have this on there every week, but they got to find a way on the road to get the ball back today.
Our producer, Christian Audisek, says, you do have that every
week. I do. He's right. It's key. It's one of the things you put on the board, Mike, when you go into your scouting report for the week. Find a way to get the ball back.
Now, I do want to point out, if there was a 4th key, it'd be to ransack the Samuel Adams Brewery, which I hear Gabe McDonald has orders to do before coming back to Carolina. Gabe, can you confirm these rumors?
I can't confirm or...
Well, this is why you show up to games early. That's Jimmy Horn Jr. He has not played at all this season. He's been trying to get in the game. He's warming up, so there's a good chance we may see him today. In fact, Al Wallace just said he's playing. Looking across Gillette Stadium, the Panthers have a rare distinction most other teams don't have on the Patriots. Believe it or not, Carolina is one of just 4 teams with a winning record against New England since 1995. In fact, in the last 30 years, they've gone 4-3 against the Pats. They'll try to add to that total when we kick off at 1 o'clock today. Let's get to your Week 4 injury report, and it is a doozy. Patrick Jones still out with that hamstring issue. Xavier Legette also going to sit out what the team is saying is a hamstring problem. How about some encouraging hamstring news? Turk Wharton is active today. However, we're told he's going to be on a snap count. Tedero McMillan is also going to play. His calf is bothering him. No snap count for him, but they're going to be taking caution with him all afternoon. Chuba was a late add to the injury report this week. His calf has limited him in practice, but he's expected to go with no snap count. JT Sanders' ankle, though, has him out. Ditto for DJ Wonnum and his hip. I guess that means it's time to let the youth movement run wild on the edge. With former Panther here, Al Wallace, Mike Lissette here with you. You cannot talk about Panthers football without talking about Bryce Young. All the buzz with Bryce this week isn't just about the game opening up to him in the air and on the ground. It's also about what he's learned from last year. Now, granted, he still can't slide. We know that. That's a work in progress. However, now that Young is starting to use his legs more when the play breaks down, it is ushering in a whole new facet to his arsenal. Under Canales and offensive coordinator Brad Isdick, Young is keeping offensive guessing. He's only threw for a season-low 126 yards last week, but with everything he's doing pre-snap, he had multiple chances to do some serious damage. Obviously, he left some points on the table, but Young feels very good about the way he and his teammates have been playing.
Taking care of the ball is obviously just super important in this league.
Here's something I thought was interesting. Young's numbers season low last week in terms of yards. The coach is not concerned about that. They say it's a sign he's letting the game come to him. What do you think about that?
Yeah, when the Panthers drafted Bryce Young, they told us he was going to be a point guard, Mike, and I believe them. This guy is just going to go out there and do whatever it takes. He's going to take all the opportunities that come to him on offense, and I believe that's a good thing. He doesn't have to have 350 yards and 3 touchdowns to be successful. What he can't do is turn the ball over and hurt his team, and he didn't do that last week.
I'm so glad you pointed it out, because in the first 5 quarters of this season, Young had 5 turnovers, but since then, none. What is he doing differently?
He's just making better decisions. He is not rushing himself. He's holding on to the ball. And when Bryce Young does that, he's able to go out there and orchestrate, run this offense for Dave Canales, and everybody else can eat. It's not about Bryce's success. It's about the other guys. And when he's able to do that, manage that, use those legs, he's a good quarterback.
Carolina hoping that he keeps it clean again today. Young's coach Dave Canales has to be happy with the way he played last week. Then again, he's got to be happy in general as the team got their first win. For more on Carolina's second-year head coach, send it back out to New England and Gabe McDonald. Back on BBKL, you know, retirement can be tricky. Some former athletes struggle to find a purpose. And then there's that guy right there, Jonathan Stewart. He seems to find joy in whatever he does, including rediscovering a passion for an old hobby. Since retiring from the NFL, Jonathan Stewart has kept himself very busy. He's done a TV show, he golfs a ton, and of course, he's around Bank of America Stadium all the time. However, one thing he surprisingly hasn't done is taken in an NFL game on the sideline.
I've been around, but to be on the game during a game, it doesn't seem necessary.
But then for Carolina's game against Arizona came an offer he could not refuse. And for the first time in 6 years, the team's all-time leading rusher found himself up close and personal with the Panthers once again.
It wasn't like a shock to me or anything like that, but it did give me a different feel for actually being a part of the process.
That's because on that day in the desert, Stewart was experiencing the game in a completely different way.
You have these big old lenses that you can zoom in on people on, so you can kind of get really up close and personal.
Stewart had been dabbling in photography since his daughter was born back in 2017. The 38-year-old had gotten away from the hobby in recent years, but when Sony reached out about picking up his gear again, he jumped at the chance.
The reason why I agreed to it is because, A, I get to travel with the team, get to be able to go to Arizona, but also be a part of something as far as, you know, you're bringing some value. And I feel like, you know, my perspective as a photographer maybe might be different than your average guy.
It didn't take long for Stewart to work off his rust. Stewart says snapping that perfect picture isn't quite like scoring a touchdown, but he says it's close.
I think that's something that, you know, the athlete mind chases. When you retire, you're looking for that high. You're looking for that rush.
Gotta get him. Gotta get ahead of the crew.
Stewart found it and then some. Now he finds himself taking pictures all the time.
You know, if you had a wedding, I can do your wedding. I can do football games, clearly. Do your football practice. I'm open for hire.
Clearly his busy schedule isn't about to clear up anytime soon. We got one last time out to take. However, when we return, we're making our Sunday selections. Got more players warming up, including J.J. Jansen. This is Black and Blue Kickoff Live.
that wants to run the ball.
Oh, come on, ye of little faith. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm taking the Panthers this afternoon after the way they played last week. Gabe, who do you got?